With the second pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Chase Young, defensive end, Ohio State.
But you know, as they say, hail to the Redskins. Let's roll, man. Let's go.
Got another super chat. This one is from my man Martin Matthews, Double M. That's my guy, Double M. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. As always, Martin Matthews, Double M, writes, "Hey, Louie, let's face it. Snyder isn't going anywhere. Facts. Absolutely, unequivocally, 100% fact. As fans, all we can do is hope that he has learned something from this and Snyder and Rivera can get this team to a respectable level it used to be." Couldn't have said it any better myself. I think that's kind of what I said. You just summed it up. It took you, 30 minutes less than it took me to say it. That's eloquently said, well put. That's all we can hope for. And I said everything that I said today to kind of just put a nice bow on this whole situation. I'm done with it. I don't know about you. Unless something major comes out, I'm done with it. This is my last 2 cents on that. I'm ready to turn the page. And so all we can hope for is that Daniel Snyder learned from this experience and that now he's going to be a better owner because of it. And I think that he was this close, and I hope he understands that. But again, his arrogance may not allow him to understand just how close he was to losing this franchise. But all we can hope is that he understands that, you got to make some changes. And it starts with you. And that's always been the problem with me as a Redskins fan with Daniel Snyder, is that he's never been able to do any kind of introspection. He's never been able to look at himself and say, hey, this starts with me. I'm the problem. I've got to change some of the ways I do things. And in turn, the rest of this organization will become better because of some of the changes I've made at the top. He's never been he's never allowed himself to do that because he's not wired that way. It's never his fault. It's somebody else's fault. It's Bruce's fault. It's Jay's fault. It's Mike Shanahan's fault. It's somebody else's fault. It's not his. And I'm hoping that he realizes this is your fault. You allowed this to happen. This sexual misconduct that was happening, it happened under your watch. This is your fault. Mark Cuban said, you've got to take responsibility individually and say, this is what I did wrong. This is what I need to do to fix the situation. And hopefully he'll take that and extrapolate that over the entire franchise and say, there are a lot of things that have been going on wrong for a long time. He's not going to do that because he's Daniel Snyder, which is why we wanted him to sell. But as a fan, that's all we can hope, is that out of this comes some introspection from Daniel Snyder, and it allows him to change for the better. And that's all we can hope, but I'm not going to hold my damn breath. All I'm going to do is hope that Ron Rivera gets the autonomy to do what it is he was brought here to do, which is change this culture and develop a winning one and a consistent winning culture. And if he's allowed to do that, because I think if he's given the ability to do that, I think he will do that here. I like the guys that are in place with this organization right now. And I think if he's allowed to do that, I think it will ultimately happen. But again, it's only going to happen if Daniel Snyder allows it to happen. So we shall see. But great super chat, Martin Matthews. Greatly appreciate you. So with that being said, I got one more super chat. Didn't think I had another super chat, but I do. I got another super chat. This one from Hype Do. Thank you for the super chat, Hype Do. Greatly appreciate you, Hype Do, who writes, Dan is responsible for being so damn irresponsible. Exactly. And that's the point, is that he's not going to admit that, I don't think. I don't think he's going to admit that he was irresponsible by not having a real human resources department, by not having protocols put in place so that people who felt like they were being wronged could actually go somewhere and report it to someone and have something done about it. Not having those things in place, that's on Daniel Snyder. You own an over $3 billion organization. You telling me you can't have a proper human resources department? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, these are things that's just pure negligence on his part. And he's got to be able to say, that's my fault. That's on me. But that's never been who Daniel Snyder's been. So why do you think this is going to be any different? That's how I look at it. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that him being on the brink of having to sell his team will all of a sudden be that awakening moment, as I mentioned, what I call it, the awakening moment. I hope that's what this serves as. But, with Daniel Snyder, I won't even hold my breath. I got to go straight to Ron Rivera. Man, I love that guy. And I told you guys on the show on Thursday night that he was the perfect guy for the job. Like, I can't envision anyone else doing a better job than he's done throughout all of this nonsense. And again, he did not sign up for this in particular, but he knew what he was coming into. He knew he was coming in to an S-storm and that he was going to have to navigate his way through some nonsense along the way. But he knew the number one priority this offseason, and really the next probably 2 or 3 off seasons, because this isn't a 1-year fix. And then you're talking about trying to wipe away 20 years of dysfunction. You're not going to do it in one off season. All right, so this is going to be a multi-layered, multi-year process. But I love the fact that he's been unwavered in his support of this organization and the job that he was sent here to do, that he came here to do. And we talked about, someone even asked the question and said, man, I feel bad. A lot of you said, feel bad for Ron Rivera. He didn't sign up for this. And he said, and a lot of you, someone asked in particular, I can't remember who exactly posed the super chat, but they said, hey, I wonder if Ron has regrets. Do you think Ron has regrets? And I'm like, yeah, he probably does have some regrets, when it comes to this organization and taking this job. He could have waited and allowed the process to play itself out. And there were other opportunities that came along, the Giants job, the Cowboys job, the Browns job. He probably could have gotten a job somewhere else, but here, and not have to deal with all of the nonsense and chicanery that has taken place to this point. But in typical Ron Rivera fashion, which is why I absolutely love this guy and think he's the perfect man for the job, here's what he had to say. And, it's funny that we talked about him potentially having regrets. First thing out of his mouth as he was talking to the Charlotte Observer, no regrets, Rivera says. And look, what is he supposed to say, right? I mean, he's not going to come out and say, yeah, I had some regrets. I had some second thoughts, but what am I going to do? Like, what is he going to say? But I still would like to hear him say no regrets. Well, he said, no regrets. I look forward to the challenge of improving a 3-13 team. I want to build a sustainable winning culture in every facet. How can you not love this guy? He then goes on to say, I had no idea about this stuff, all right, which he didn't. He just got here 2 seconds ago. We were talking about things in that Washington Post article that they highlighted 13 years of dysfunction and sexual misconduct in the organization from 2006 to 2019. He wasn't here for any of it. So, of course, he had no idea of what was going on. But he also said the biggest thing is that we have to move forward from this and make sure everybody understands we have policies that we will follow, that we will have an open door policy with no retribution. He said, plus my daughter works for the team, and I'm sure as hell not going to allow any of this. Exclamation point. So, man, I love Ron Rivera. Man, he is the perfect man for the job. Daniel Snyder couldn't have hired a better man. And honestly, I've said this a million times. I'm going to continue to say this. I'm glad he chose us. Okay. Because I don't know if anyone else could literally stand in the midst of all of this nonsense that's going on and be unwavered in their support, but more specifically in their message and in their resolve. Ron Rivera is the right man for the job. So I wanted to say that.
Louie.